Today I'll be making a German chocolate cake ice cream. I'm basically going to be making a regular chocolate base, and then I'll be adding coconut and pecans. I'm going to take half of the coconut and pecans and blend them in the base, and then half of it will be a mix-in. So you'll have some that will just add flavor and some that will actually add texture if people want it. Some people like smooth, creamy ice cream, and some people like chunks of different textures in their ice cream. So that'll be an option. I'm going to start by using a bullet. You could use a blender or the Ninja CREAMi to mix up your base, but I like to blend it up with my bullet because it's easy and everything gets nice and smooth. So I'm going to start with some chocolate milk. I'm using Fairlife. You can use whatever kind you want. I'm going to actually shake it. I like to shake my cream and milk before I put it in. I'm not going to measure. I'm just going to add a little bit. I know that I can get a little bit past the top of this. Of course, to blend, I don't want to overfill because then it'll spill out. So I'm going to add my secret ingredient, which is a date. That's going to really help emulsify, and it's not really going to add flavor. It's going to add a little bit of sweetness, but you're not going to taste the date in the chocolate. It's just going to help make it creamy. I'm going to add quite a bit of vanilla. It's a new one, so I'd say it's about a tablespoon. I'm going to add my cocoa, the most important part. I'm adding regular, this kind of dark cocoa. It's unsweetened. I'm also adding a little bit of this cacao nibs. You don't have to, but I think it adds a little bit of bitterness, which is a good thing. You want a lot of different flavors. You want the sweet with the bitter. So I'm going to add that into my bullet. I'm not measuring, I'm going by taste. So I would say that was probably about, I don't know, maybe a few tablespoons, like a few scoops. And then I'm going to taste it afterwards. I'm also adding these zero sugar chocolate bars. I'm adding 2 of them. I'm going to leave 2 out in case people want them for mix-ins. A little bit of salt, that's really important. Just like maybe just a dash, not too much. I'm not measuring, I'm just going to add a little bit of coconut, just like maybe a tablespoon and a half. Same thing with the pecans. I'm just going to add a little, just a few. And I'm going to taste to adjust my taste. I'm also going to add some low-fat cottage cheese. That's going to also help emulsify. Sometimes I forget my spoon, so good thing I've got it right there. Just like a scoop. And I'm not going to add my cream yet. I'm not going to add my sugar yet. And for sugar, I'm using Splenda today. I use different things. Sometimes I use monk fruit sweetener, but generally I like to cook my monk fruit. This is not going to be cooked, so I'm just using Splenda. It seems to do just fine. So I'm going to blend this up and then taste. Now that I've blended this up, I'm going to add it to my CREAMi pint. This is a deluxe CREAMi. See, some of it is a little chunky. That's fine. It's going to be blended up after it's frozen, but I just wanted to get a general blend to start. I didn't add my sugar or my cream. You could have added the sugar, I just didn't have it handy right then. But the cream, I like to wait till the end, because if you over-process the cream, it'll turn to butter when you make ice cream. So I try to do as little blending of the cream as possible. So I'm going to add about, generally I like to add about a cup of Splenda or sugar, but since I don't want to over sugar it, I'm going to add about half a cup to start. I'm going to stir it up and taste it, and then I'll adjust and add more. It's easier than taking it away. I'm going to shake my cream lightly just so it's mixed. Add a little bit of cream, and this one's new, so take the top off. I'm not measuring, I'm just gonna go by taste and feel. Another thing I like to add is a little bit of coconut extract. Since this is going to be a German chocolate cake, I definitely want it to have that coconut taste. So I'm gonna add a few drops of that. I'm gonna mix this up and taste again. After mixing this up and tasting it, it tastes really good. I'm glad I didn't add all of the sugar, because since I used chocolate milk, which has sugar in it, it definitely didn't need as much sweetener as I expected. So I ended up adding just a half a cup of the Splenda. It has a really nice chocolatey flavor. As you can see, it's not quite up to the top. I have two options. I can add, I could add more chocolate milk, but I think it's chocolatey enough and sweet enough. So I'm gonna add a little bit of this Fairlife fat-free milk, because it tastes very rich and I don't want it to be over rich. Sometimes your ice cream can be like too fatty and it causes problems, and it tastes bad in the mouth. So I'm gonna add a little bit of non-fat milk. I also thought that it needed a little bit more of the pecan taste. So I'm gonna add the rest of these pecans, and I'll just get some more for the topping. I'm just gonna add them in whole, because remember, they're gonna be mixed after it's frozen, it's gonna be all blended up. And I think I'm gonna just go ahead and go right to the top with my non-fat milk, so that I like to fill them full if I possibly can. And I think that'll be good for the flavor. It'll kind of tone down the flavor a little bit, which will make it nice and creamy and delicious. Okay, now I'm gonna stir this one last time, get it all stirred up, and I'm gonna taste. That's good, I think it's ready to freeze. I spun this once on regular ice cream setting, and it looks good. Looks like it has quite a few pieces of coconut and maybe nuts in there. The texture looks good. I'm gonna scoop it up. As you can see, the scoop is nice, and it's probably gonna need a little bit of help out here. It's a good scoop. This is what it looks like. So now it's time to taste it. It's good. The flavor is really good. It has a lot more texture than I expected. Some people like a really creamy ice cream, which I do. I like to have a creamy ice cream and then have mix-ins that go into it. Without any mix-ins, this is a little bit too crunchy. So probably what I would suggest is for me to mix this up one more time, like to refreeze it and mix it up, maybe even add a little bit of milk, and it'll be perfect. It's good as it is, it's just got a lot of texture to it, which is, I guess, a subjective thing. But overall, it has a really good German chocolate taste.